Hello, take three. Today is April 13th, 2021. Hope you're well. Now we're going to continue our series now having to do with living one's truth. And something occurred to me a couple of nights ago that is worth mentioning in this series, which has to do with at some point, probably sooner than later, in our newfound quest, or whatever you want to call it. It's not really a quest. It's a new way of living and living one's truth. A very great challenge that will come up probably, like we said, sooner than later, is the realization that it goes against the grain. If someone is serious, as we have discussed, if someone is serious about living one's truth or living in truth, they're gonna notice real quick that all your mates are not gonna be on board for this. It's just the way human nature is. We're creatures of habit and of comfort and of the way of least resistance, and all of those things are an exact opposition to one who will begin this undertaking. And so. And we want to also realize at the outset that this is very difficult to express, but when we find this situation arising, it's not about personalities, and it's not about individual people, and it's not about the details of the experiences and the situations that will be coming up for us. Those are just the obvious in your face. Okay. Please bear with me. Like I said, this is hard to put into words. Again, if we could just remember Tesla's words, as far as if you want to understand things, think in terms of vibration and energy. And that's what we have to do in this case. Realize that there is a certain frequency, a certain vibe that is living one's truth. And it is not the vibe of living in comfort, living in ease, living in acceptability, living in image, living in the societal norms. All of those things are a different vibration. And that vibration gets along with its own vibration. They are the same. So people who are, and again, this is not a judgment, and it's not about personalities, and it's not about the details. Again, people, whoever we are, whatever our vibe is, it's the energy of it. And so if we go about our new way of being in this place, remembering that, okay, this is an energetic thing that's going on more than a personal thing, will fare much better. Will do much better than the other. Because the honest to God's truth is, if we get sucked into the feeling and the emotion of the different situations that might arise, we're going to get sucked in. We're gonna drown. It's not bearable. At least that's my experience, of course. That's my own experience of it, is that when we put our attention on the specifics of the obvious, what's happening in situations, when we take it personally, when we start asking the questions, when we start, when we allow emotion to rise up and up and up and up in us, that will be our undoing. And that's okay if that's what happens occasionally, if we're human beings in this place. And, sometimes some situations that come up because the energies don't match are very, very trying, very, very challenging. And again, if we're not really grounded, so to speak, really understand that this is a vibration thing, we're going to get hurt a lot. We're going to, not because we're wusses and not because we're overly sensitive, but because it'll look like something that doesn't really feel good. And we'll swallow that up, and that again, that's going to make it harder. So let's just try to be more clear on this. Basically oil and water. That's what we're going to say, oil and water. And it is what it is. And we can't have, you can't be on two sides of the fence in this. If we want to be in the old way, then let's do it. Be in the old way. But don't think that we can hop over the fence and be this one day and hop over the fence and be this that day, because that doesn't work. It's not, we're going to get frustrated. And unfortunately, in this period that we live in right now, where all this information is so easily accessible to us about these types of things, many people feel that the book knowledge and the just gaining and gathering and storing up of information in your head is the same thing as living and experiencing the truth of a thing. They're not the same. I just because I read a book, no matter how much great information is in that book, it's not life. Words in a book is not life. And so that's what's happening is, people, it's like, yeah, I want to accept this view of things because it sounds great, and yeah, I want that. But I also want the old way, the old me, so to speak. And when we say old me, we're not saying the old me is a bad thing. We're saying if we want to grow, growth means change, and change means something has to go. It has to change from one thing to another. If we're talking about growing into this newness, yet I'm gonna hold on to all of this, and this of the old. Well, then just stay in the old. You see, and reading a book and going to a seminar and having a chat with your gals over tea is not living the thing. And feel free to do it, but we're only going to be able to move so far into trying to live in our truth. And it's not, it's just, it's really interesting. And again, it's really hard to put into words, but, and we're really trying not to sound judgy here, because again, judging is dumb and pointless and useless. But for your sake. Just do what you're doing. Do your thing. Just know that this undertaking, it requires everything. And any particle of any weight or particle that's going to keep you from growing can't come along. I hope that makes sense. And we also don't want to make it sound like, the person speaking into this device has got her shit all together and, is standing up on her soapbox and, trying to preach anything or anything like that. This is just my own experience with this is what we're sharing here. Okay, so, if it resonates with you, then that's good. If it doesn't resonate with you, then that's good too. Then that means you need to do you. Do you. We're past that point of, okay, this person says this, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. And it doesn't matter what this person or that person is saying. It doesn't matter. It's when we feel it in our own gut, in our own heart, vibrating in the cells in our body, when we feel the thing to move into newness, that's when we do it. Not because, this sounds like something cool I want to try. Living in one's truth is not something cool to try. It's something uncool as far as coolness is concerned. It's not fun, if you want to say that. We have such a strange idea sometimes of what things really, what they are. The ideas that we have about things are not the reality of the things. Let's just put it that way. Never, 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 never. And we don't use that word very often, right? Never and always. We don't like those words too much around here, but here we're going to say that because that is the truth. Ideas are concepts. Concepts are not the reality of whatever you're talking about or reading about or thinking about. The life of the thing is the thing, all right? So, and we're not trying to win any prizes here. We're not trying to get to the finish line before anybody else. We're not trying to prove anything to anybody else. This is a one-man show. We said that before. And it's a very, very serious consideration. It's not, this idea of, okay, I'm going to do me, I'm going to do my thing, I'm going to be me, I'm going to da 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 da, and you just stand up with your chest held out and your chin up high, and it's actually a very humbling experience. Because ordinarily, and even if you are to research, people who have done this, not even try this, people who have done this, they were not popular people. They were scorned, they were ridiculed, they were laughed at. They were weirdos living their own truth while everybody else was doing their thing and they were all vibing together. And this person, even the story of Jesus Christ, now, people are like, yeah, Jesus is my homie or whatever. But guess what? At the time that he is reported to have lived on this planet, the situation was not that. If people there were people who, it kind of sort of felt like the guy knew it is, he was it. He was the real thing, but they were still like, he's not popular, and I'm not trying to get in trouble with the authorities. People would come in the nighttime looking for him because they didn't want to get busted talking to this weirdo. See? That's, we're just describing to you the story of it. We're not saying whether or not the story is to be taken literal, but if it is, then there is one person that definitely wasn't a Mr. Popular. And throughout history, I mean, people who are living in truth or living their truth, it's life-changing. And so that's what we wanted to kind of talk about in this installment. Just some thoughts. If we, and you can't even really ever know, you can't ever really know and say, yes, I'm ready to face whatever, bring it on. We don't know. Those are ideas in our mind. When the truth of it happens and the life of it is brought forth and the experience is happening to us, then that's when we get to see what really is, what we really are. And we like to imagine what we would be or do or say or think or how we would behave in certain situations, but we don't really know. And we can't really say, yeah, I'm prepared for all of that. But if we feel very strongly like, you know what, I'm ready. I know it's not going to be a picnic. It's going to test me a lot. But I look back and there's nowhere to go back there. I don't want to go back there. I don't like what was back there. I don't want to revisit that ever again. I'm ready for whatever this is. If we feel that on some level, then that's a good thing. If we're not even thinking that way, like, life-changing, what? I'm just trying to kind of fit this into my life. Well, I mean, do you? See how it goes. We're just talking from our own experience here, so hopefully this has been informative to someone out there, maybe even encouraging. And it could be encouraging because if we set out to do something and we think it's just going to be, rainbows and unicorns and sunshine, and it's not going to be that way, that could really throw us, It's better to be informed ahead of time. So in that way, it could be encouraging. But anyway, as always, we want to wish you much love, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.